Hi reader, my name is Phoebe. I've always loved the older NES games. Sure, I try out other things while not at college or at my part-time job. But the old 8-bit games just have that sort of charm to them. Why do I keep messing this up? And one game I've always loved was Dr. Mario. I've always loved how Mario, dressed as a medical doctor, would wipe out viruses with his special mega vitamins. One day, my old NES cartridge of Dr. Mario had given up the ghost. I had my old NES repaired, so I went to Vaxxin Videos to see if they had a new copy in stock if I couldn't get it fixed. The clerk said he had a replacement cartridge for it, and it had its label, but it also had Mortician written under the logo with Sharpie marker. This can be a good replacement while I get this current cart fixed, the clerk said. Someone else gave me this cart as he was giving away his old NES games. He said he wanted to move on with his life, and told me to just take them for free. He didn't want them anymore. It was an odd tale, yet something told me it was true. As for why Mortician was written on the label at the time, I thought it was little more than a morbid joke, like in most other stories. I took the cart home and turned on the game. The title screen had Mario with glowing eyes, as did the one Blue Virus. The music was the same overall tune, but in a lower minor key, and a bit slower. And the word Mortician was written under the Dr. Mario logo in a similar font as the main menu and congratulations screens. Something was really up. I pressed start on the one-player game, as I was pretty much alone in my apartment. The menu selection music was still the same, but it was the only thing that was the same music-wise. Instead of the fever and chill music themes, there were plague and poison options. Since when did a Mario game get this dark? I asked. Since I always loved the cutscenes at the end of certain levels, I didn't bother going low speed. I set it to medium first, and then set the music to the plague setting. The plague music was a much faster-paced, high minor key version of the fever theme. To an extent, it made sense, since the plague kind of forced you to seek a cure quickly, or face a gruesome, painful, albeit natural death. The viruses also looked strange. Like they kind of looked like they had those bird-like plague doctor masks from medieval Europe during the Black Death. Otherwise, the game functioned as normal. The first few levels played through easily enough, as one would expect. After clearing level 5 on medium speed, the tree was different. In fact, except for the viruses and whatever floated in the sky, everything was in grayscale, aka black and white, with a black sky. The tree was a dead tree with some tombstones near the bottom, or at least the white silhouettes of such, and what I can only guess was a hangman's noose on one of the branches. Now I know that later on, during the GameCube era, they would show a gallows in the roadport area in Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door. But this is in the NES era. I didn't think anything this macabre would enter an NES game in the US, let alone in a Mario game. The music was also ominous, like a darker remix of the usual peaceful tune that played in these cutscenes. Anyway, normally after clearing level 5 on medium speed, a flapping book would fly across the sky. A book did appear, but it had a pentagram on its side. What was that doing in a Mario game? There's no way this would be allowed in America back in the day. The next couple of rounds played, and I was still able to play them well, since normally the speed wouldn't really pick up till much later. But I had a lot of experience in playing this game, so I could breeze through the first few levels easily before the game would really kick spurs into things. Pretty, will you stop clawing? I'm trying to make a video. Completing level 10 on medium speed brings me again to the hanging tree setting. Normally in this cutscene, a flying chicken would go across the screen. Well, this time a chicken's skeleton, minus the skull and neck bones, flew across. Perhaps the remnants of someone's dinner? Someone was really making a lot of dark humor here in this version of the game. Starting with level 11, the game started to get a bit trickier and had a couple close calls in levels 13 and 14. But I was able to save myself with a few clever combos. Level 15 I barely survived with, for a lack of a better term, an accidental combo. Sometimes they happen, you know? Once again, the hanging tree showed with the 3 viruses on it. Clearing level 15 on medium difficulty showed a flying spray paint can, I kid you not. This time the spray paint can was lit on fire, and the flames were blue. I remember that sulfur burns with a blue flame, so perhaps it was supposed to be hellfire in a can? When did this kind of theme enter an early NES Mario game? Level 16 started, so I had to brace myself. This is the kind of last stand set of levels. I was able to beat the level quickly, though it was starting to speed up since after a while the level speeds up on its own. Level 17 was next, and when things got a little too close for comfort, I paused to catch my breath, then quickly made a combo to give me more breathing room. The same went for levels 18 and 19. When level 20 came, I thought I was going to lose, but Imagine Color saved me from a game over. I was able to work slowly, and only occasionally got a few lucky combos to clear more viruses. After a few nerve-wracking turns, level 20 on medium speed was complete. The hanging tree returned. Under normal circumstances, one would see a hatched dinosaur right across in its egg in the sky. This time, though, I saw a large T-Rex skull, and its teeth were tipped red, as if it got lucky to bite someone. Now, normally, this game would then continue on to level 21 onward, but instead it just sent me right back to the selection menu. Even weirder, low and medium were crossed out, only the high speed remained. So before I got started, I set the music to the poison setting. Then I took a deep breath and began to go. The poison theme was a low-key, slower techno version of the chill theme, at least as techno is the 8-bit era of sound and music could do, and the viruses looked almost like a punk music band of sorts. Okay, that's a pretty cool image. Again, the first 5 levels were relatively easy, even with the higher speed. And I was able to clear them quickly. Level 5 was cleared, and again, the hanging tree setting came up. The setting following level 5 clear on high speed was usually a large turtle swimming in the air. In this case, it was a large turtle skeleton. Basically a dry bones, but in a different art style. For new viewers' information, dry bones is an undead Koopa Troopa. With the high speed levels, the difficulty ramps up quite early. This truth I knew all too well. As early as level 6, I noticed small but substantial upticks in difficulty. I really had to keep my eyes open. Levels 7 and 8 maintained that current speed, but with more sporadic virus placements. I finally completed levels 9 and 10, and the hanging tree setting once more emerged. In the normal game, there would be a flying pig. I cannot believe I just said that, using its tail as a propeller. But this time, it was a severed pig's head with an apple in its mouth, with some blood where the neck used to attach. And it was held up in the air by the same devil character from the Famicom game Devil World. How did that get sneaked in? I thought. I remember back in the day when Devil World wasn't allowed in the USA due to censorship rules regarding religious stuff. Level 11 started, and now the game was really kicking spurs into things, even more so than back in the medium setting. I was able to complete levels 11 through 15 with sheer luck. Some of the combos fell into place by themselves, I swear. And some of those accidental combos even exceeded the quadruples, which were feats into themselves when one tries to willfully plan them out just by skill. The Hangman's Tree returned. The normal Dr. Mario would have had a witch fly by. There was a witch in this one as well, but this witch looked more like the one from Monster Party, and that game was published by Bandai, not Nintendo. The witch dropped some magic dust that stops just short of the virus's level, and letters formed in the same font as the menu and congratulations screens. It won't be long. Won't be long for what? I thought. But level 16 was about to start. I just had to find out what was going on. Level 16 started, and now I could see some deliberate shapes forming. The viruses made the shape of a skull. While it was creepy, it did make it easier to set up the vitamins. Being as quick thinking as possible, I was able to clear it before things got too hectic. Level 17 was next, and the viruses made the shape of a tombstone, with gaps making the letters RIP. Again, while it was creepy, it did give me some possibilities for a few combos to make stuff easier. Level 18 showed what looked like a coffin, similar to the one seen in the backgrounds of certain Castlevania levels, with the gap forming a cross shape. It was one of the few times crosses weren't censored under Nintendo's guidelines, but I admit, it was getting harder to clear viruses correctly. Nevertheless, a few lucky combos kicked in to save me from getting a game over, but nothing could prepare me for what came next. As level 19 started, the game froze for a bit, and some of the checkerboard background fell, revealing what looked like a blue flame pattern. Likewise, the viruses made some sort of flame in a fireplace pattern. I also noticed Mario showing a more sadistic look in spite of the 8-bit limitations. Is this hell? I thought. No, it couldn't be! I soon returned my attention to the game and started placing capsules in any free spots I could. At one point, I thought I was going to get a game over, but a lucky drop cleared the gaps, and I was able to resume clearing out the viruses. It wasn't long till the last stage. Level 20 showed the face of the devil from Devil World, but, of course, made out of viruses, with other viruses filling in the backdrop. Things were getting really hectic. I was panicked at one point, but a lucky drop cleared a gap again. I played and prayed, and soon after one last capsule drop, I cleared the last stage. The congratulatory screen appeared one last time. Under normal circumstances, the real ending from beating level 20 on high speed would show a spaceship beaming out the viruses, but this time it was the Grim Reaper. His appearance very much the same as the Reaper enemy from Kid Icarus. The Grim Reaper spoke in text. "It's time to come home, children." Without any beam, the viruses levitated up towards the Reaper, and they all vanished in a tiled disappearing animation. Then the whole thing just went back to the title screen. No level 21, nada. After I turned the NES off, I got a phone call from Vax and Videos, and they said that he repaired my regular Dr. Mario cartridge. After I turned the NES off, I went back and got the cartridge, returning the card I borrowed and paid the fee. Before leaving, I asked the clerk, "Do you remember who gave you this card?" The clerk said, "Your guess is as good as mine." He said that he had to get rid of these games because of a traumatic event involving his overbearing, over-religious father. He gave me some of these games not long after his father passed away, and after purchasing an old Super Nintendo and some games, he just left. I have heard of some parents calling video games devil's intentions, but they just don't know better. Still, it makes me wonder what that guy did to the other cards he gave away. Did he mess with those cards before giving them up? If so, I shudder to think of the effects they have on anyone who plays them, especially if a young child played them. This just goes to show that if something doesn't look right, for heaven's sake, say something.